They come to Earth and
Right.
they treat humans the way that we treat animals in factory farms and slaughterhouses. So the aliens put us in cages, they kill our friends, and now they're coming at us with the knife, and we're screaming and trying to escape. But 3% of the aliens are vegan, and they're saying to the other aliens, "Hey guys, why don't we be nice to the humans? Nobody gets to choose how they're born, and there's nothing wrong with being different.
I'm a bit speciesist, and that's probably very wrong of me.
We can do whatever we want because we have power over them." But I feel like that's an abuse of power.
I don't like that I eat so much meat. Like I know that there is harm caused to animals.
I started moving towards a more plant-based diet. I've stopped eating all meat.
Once you get used to a new thing, and if you just focus on the animals and focus on justice, if we don't want violence done to us from another being that's stronger than us, then I don't want to do that violence to someone who's not as strong and smart as me. I want to use my power to protect the vulnerable, you know?
Chase, him in Idaho, he's got a thought experiment about aliens oppressing humans. Okay.
Aliens again?
Yeah, I love this, and this is why Truth Want is great, because there's everything. You get everything.
Great.
Aliens, ghosts. The lines are still open if you want to call in and talk about any of this. But hey, Chase, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm a big fan of the show.
Good.
Hi, Chase.
We're a big fan of you.
Aw.
What have you got for us?
All right, so hypothetically, imagine that aliens exist and they're smarter and stronger than us, and they come to Earth and they treat humans the way that we treat animals in factory farms and slaughterhouses. So the aliens put us in cages, they kill our friends, and now they're coming at us with the knife, and we're screaming and trying to escape. But 3% of the aliens are vegan, and they're saying to the other aliens, "Hey guys, why don't we be nice to the humans? Nobody gets to choose how they're born, and there's nothing wrong with being different. What matters is the humans feel pain and pleasure and they want to live." But the aliens who are killing us are laughing at the vegan aliens, saying, "What do you care about these stupid humans for? They look different than us. They're not as smart as us." Right? So the question is, should we be violent toward animals just because they're a different species and less intelligent, or is that discrimination similar to how the aliens were oppressing us?
Wow. This is basically, we should all be vegan, right? This is maybe we should all be vegan.
This is a vegan call, yeah.
Where I stand on this is, and I'm really sorry, but I really like how some animals taste. So my opinion is that I'm a bit speciesist, and that's probably very wrong of me. What about you, Vimo?
I understand what you're saying there, and of course, the response would just be, "Well, the aliens think that you taste delicious, you know. So is that a justification for the violence?"
Right. But if if the aliens are intelligent and we're, maybe we're intelligent, I don't know, and we can find a way to reason with them and say, look, maybe don't eat us because this is our thought process. If animals started saying to me, please don't eat me because this, I would probably stop eating the animals, and it's not all the animals. I don't eat all the animals.
I understand what you're saying, but I guess I feel like the animals are communicating with us, like dogs and cats and pigs and stuff. They communicate with us. They scream in pain. They run away in fear. They also, nuzzle up to us and be social and kind to us when we're nice to them.
Right. And
James,
that's the thing. We domesticate some of these animals, so we almost give them human personas, so that makes it more difficult. I could never eat my dog unless I was on a desert island and I was really hungry because she's quite meaty,
Yeah, I hear you. And I feel the same way as a vegan for the past 13 years. I did eat animals for 26 years, but now, I would also, like you, if I was stranded on a desert island and there was no vegan food around, no plant foods, and the only option was to kill and eat a dog or a pig or you, I might do it, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to hurt somebody just because I enjoy the taste of their dead body, you know what I mean? I'm not going to oppress.
Right.
I don't want to oppress someone unless I have to.
James, can I ask you something? In this hypothetical alien visitation example, if the aliens happen to be plant-based life forms and they feed themselves using photosynthesis and they come to Earth and they see that people are eating plants and the same thing works out the way you said, what would you do?
Oh, well, if these alien plants are sentient and conscious, like they have personalities and desires and feel pain and stuff, that would change the situation, if and similarly, I would think though that if those alien plants were sentient and they saw us eating plants that are not sentient here on Earth, because an apple doesn't care how you treat it because it doesn't have a brain or a nervous system. An apple doesn't feel pain, so I don't think the alien plants would care that we're eating plants on Earth because our plants are not sentient. They're not conscious.
So it appears to be like I completely respect your point of view, but it appears to me to be quite a bit of imagination at work here. Like, you're trying to get us to feel that aliens would be like this, but not like this. And then you're deciding what the parameters of their engagement with us are going to be.
Well, I guess the question is like, what philosophy of the two types of aliens, the majority of the aliens who are killing us in the hypothetical versus the 3% of vegan aliens, whose philosophy between those two, whose philosophy do we hope will win out in the end? Do we hope the vegan aliens will win and justice will prevail and the humans will be preserved, or do we hope for some weird reason that the cruel aliens will win and they kill us?
Well, justice is a very human concept, no? So, it exists in human society. When a lion eats a deer in the forest, you don't say it is unjust that the deer died, or if the deer escapes, you don't say it is unjust that the lion starved to death. So it's still a conversation like, who will win in a fight, Captain America or Iron Man? We're still talking completely in hypotheticals. I suppose whoever the writer wants to win will win. And
Right.
you're writing the story right now.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like the lion kills in order to survive and they don't know any better. It's still unfortunate for the deer that the lion kills, It's still violent, but it's not like the lion knows any better. But we, on the other hand, are civilized human beings and the aliens in the thought experiment are even smarter than us. So it's like we ought to know better than to cause needless violence.
But plenty of civilized human beings have engaged in pretty uncivilized behavior throughout history. And when you say smarter than us, you're assuming that intelligence has something to do with morality. There are really smart people who have done really hideous things.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Now, I would just say that, just because we've done something for a long time doesn't make it morally justified, but I agree with the point you made there.
I'm not saying it is justified because we have done it for a long time. I'm saying that intelligence does not necessarily translate into moral behavior. So these aliens might correspond to your view of veganism, right? But they may be engaging in other really hideous behavior that you and I will not be able to condone.
Yes, that could be true. Yes, I guess I just feel that we shouldn't, like, because nobody gets to choose how they're born and there's nothing wrong with being different, that we should just be nice to everybody. And like I'm a human rights activist as well, and I just figured, but I suddenly realized, I want to expand my circle of compassion and stand up against all oppression. And I do think that just because that these lions would do something or that violent humans will do something, and just because some humans misuse their intelligence as a way to oppress innocent, vulnerable, childlike beings, these animals who did nothing wrong and they can't defend themselves, because they're not as smart as us. But I feel like that's the philosophy of might makes right, that we can do whatever we want to lower beings because we have power over them. But I feel like that's an abuse of power.
I don't think animals are lower beings, so to speak, and I'm sure you also did not mean it that way. But I would like to draw your attention to another thing that happens in my part of the world, which is India, where people who eat meat get discriminated against by vegetarians. There have even been cases of people being killed because they were suspected of possessing meat.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think that I'm not advocating for violence against anybody, of course, but I do think that
I'm not saying that you are.
yeah, I understand. I know you're not saying that about me. And we want to use peaceful means to accomplish our goals, whatever our activist goals are. I think we should talk about these things, and sure, debate and protest is fine, but keep the violence out of it, ideally, right? But at the same time, though, like I think if we saw somebody kicking a dog then, if the dog's not attacking anybody or anything, the dog's just minding their own business. If we saw somebody kicking a dog, we would probably intervene in one way or another. We might speak to the person and try to calm them down, or we might call the police to intervene, or if there was no time, we might physically put ourselves in between the attacker and the dog, And so I just feel like that's what vegans are doing, just with other animals and stabbing instead of just kicking, because that's what's happening in the slaughterhouses, their throats are slit. And I think that slitting an animal's throat is worse than kicking them.
Right.
Agree. We should be more compassionate.
Right. And I completely agree as well. I do think if I saw someone kicking a chicken, I would intervene, because there's a difference between, and this is just my opinion, but there's a difference between ending something's life in a humane way, like quick death ready to be eaten, rather than torturing a creature and then one day maybe eating its carcass. If it's dealt with in a humane way, me personally, I find it okay to carry on eating that creature, because I like the taste of the creature.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean. Like, you're trying, of course it would be worse to torture and then kill an animal, but I think it's also, I think it's still bad to kill the animal, even if it's quick and painless. Just like if somebody killed you in your sleep, you wouldn't feel any pain or any fear. So that's good. But somebody would have taken your life prematurely. And, these animals are killed when they're very young, because that's when it's profitable. So like the natural lifespan of a pig is about 12 years old, just like a dog. But pigs are killed when they're only 6 months old, and that's like killing a puppy.
Right. It's an interesting, and I like how it started off as like, here's some aliens that might want to eat us, but actually it was a secret veganism. It was a nice way of doing it, and I appreciate that, Chase.
I always appreciate the imagination of vegans.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was a nice way of approaching it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. If you have any other questions or anything, that's fine, or I might call you again some other time. But I appreciate the open-mindedness and challenging my perspective, but in a polite way. So thank you for that. And I would just remember, that if we don't want violence done to us from another being that's stronger than us, then I don't want to do that violence to someone who's not as strong and smart as me. I want to use my power to.
That's a nice.
I want to use my power to protect.
I like that.
To protect the vulnerable,
I like that. That's a nice way to be, Chase. And I don't like that I eat so much meat. Like, I know that there is harm caused to animals that taste really bloody good. And so I, over the last, actually in 2018, I stopped eating one meat altogether, because I'm like, I just can't do it to all these animals. So slowly, maybe I am stepping away from eating all these animals. It might just take me a little bit longer. And it's nice to have a different perspective on it. And again, like, put forward in a nice, respectful way, Chase. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
And I remember, I used to make fun of vegans, and now look at me. So you never know.
Right. And actually, I've got a very good friend back in the UK. All he would do is rip on vegans, and now he's vegan himself. So I completely get it.
That's funny. All right. Well,
thanks, Chase. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for.
Yeah, and just one last thing I'll say, and just one last thing, if I could, I'll just say, there's a lot of delicious food out there that's vegan. We got rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread, all that like Asian stir fry or Indian curries and things like this, and then we got the vegan meats and, like vegan burgers and pizza and ice cream and all that good stuff. So it's not like we're asking you to get rid of all earthly pleasures or nothing, just trying to help the animals. But trying to help.
Yeah. In fact, Chase, if I can just point out, I started moving towards a more plant-based diet about a year ago. I've stopped eating all meat. I still eat eggs and I drink milk, but I'm having just salad for an entire meal for the last entire year. And I recently had the opportunity to taste meat again, and I didn't like it.
Oh wow!
Like, my aesthetic of taste has changed to such a great degree. I find salad tasty now, which I found gross a year ago, and I can't handle meat anymore.
And likewise, I gave up beef in 2018. That was my one that and it wasn't just because of it being a cow, and cows are cool, but it was because of the environmental impact of eating beef. And I also had beef not so long ago and went, I don't like steak anymore. What's wrong with me? So
Yeah,
yeah, I get it.
I think your
that
yeah,
happens.
same thing happened to me. You know, my taste buds changed, and you know, for the first 3 weeks of not eating animals, I had some cravings. You know, I would pull into the drive-through of the McDonald's and see the picture of the big juicy burger, and I'd start salivating and getting cravings. But like, I would just order the French fries, and put something in my belly, and then I'd be fine. And after a few weeks, your psychologists say that it takes 3 weeks to change a habit. About 21 days, whether it's smoking or a new
Right.
exercise or new diet. And so once you get used to a new thing, and if you just focus on the animals and focus on justice, that's what I did instead of focusing on my preferences and my taste and my pleasure and my habits. I just realigned my priorities, and it became really easy. And now I have no cravings at all.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm.
Well, thanks for that, Chase. Yeah, it's definitely something to think about going forward. I'm not against veganism, but I at the moment I'm still too into the meat taste of certain meats. But I'm willing to explore it going forward. Especially, I keep saying it because I'm very excited. But I've got a child on the way, and I would like my child to think about others and not just other humans, but other creatures. So it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing I'll leave you with is there's a movie with Joaquin Phoenix on YouTube called Dominion. And so just check out Dominion on YouTube with Joaquin Phoenix, and it'll show you like undercover investigations of animal factory farms and slaughterhouses. And how
I think I've heard of this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dominion. All right.
Nice.
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Well, all right. Thanks, Chase. You have a good one. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you.
Bye, Chase.
Bye.